the Future Print session about nearshoring or farshoring or shoring or making something at home or making something far away. One of the things that we have noticed in COVID-19 times is the change of supply chain, the change of the world of printing, and especially in textiles, it's hit hard. It's hit hard for the simple reason that you could buy a shirt from China or Bangladesh at Primark for 2, maybe 3 euros. But how did it get here? And was it worth it? And is it still getting here? And how are we managing those things? Well, in these new times, we find that, and we wonder sometimes, how the garments are produced. Are they produced locally? Are they produced far away? What are the benefits of producing those in-house or producing them externally? And then we get into the world of nearshoring and farshoring. What do you mean? What do we really mean with that? Is Bulgaria nearshore or farshore from the Netherlands? Or is it inside of the EU and it becomes interesting? Or should we go outside of the EU and go to Morocco just because of prices? Well, I think this is a session where we can discuss a lot of these sides. And today I'm very happy to have some extremely good candidates to talk about this. One of them is Hervé. Hervé is the general manager of Mittel Textiles. He's been working in the textile industry, I think, since they started making textiles. And Joe, he has been telling people about everything, how to manage those things in-house, how to print garments in-house, how to print textiles in-house, and do that. And he runs the academy. Gentlemen, welcome to this session. I'm really happy to have you here. So let's start off with something simple. Hervé, in your opinion, what do you think? Should we nearshore or should we farshore? Or is there an option to do something different?
Actually, there is no general answer because it depends on which market you are in. It depends on which product you are producing. It depends on the lead times you are expecting. It depends on your customers. It depends on what our politicians are going to decide about global trade. It depends on many things, so you won't get any answer. You see only big trends over the years. You told me you're a nice guy that I'm here since ages. Actually,
well, same as me. I got the gray beard.
I'm in textile only since 35 years, so it's not so that much. And in these more than 30 years, I saw the changes of the textile industry in Europe, as well for garment textile, but as well for home textile or technical textiles and everything. And for sure, there was offshoring over the years, which was different depending on which country you speak about. Mm-hmm. If you speak about Germany, if you speak about France or Italy and so on, the way the offshoring was done was quite different. And it was up to 2004. Then you had all the big trade implementation, which means that offshoring was even stronger. Then you had the change in the way as well the distribution was done. So you had newcomers in beginning from the 80s, which developed themselves until the beginning of the 2000, which all the store chains, which are looking for short delivery time. And this offshoring was partly back because of short delivery time. And now, after Corona, it's difficult to say what will happen. So for sure, there is one trend since... Sorry?
No, I said for sure. I mean, Corona is making huge differences in the way supply chains are running, the way people are thinking, and also how people are buying things. So yes, I agree. I think Hervé is a little bit frozen. We'll get to him. Joe, I'll go to you. One of the things I've noticed in the printing industry in general, and especially the large format printing industry, that textiles have been, the thing to go to. We had vinyls, we had flatbeds, we had all kinds of stuff, and we have been printing textiles since 20 years, even more than 20 years. But in the last couple of years, it's become fashionable to be printing again on textiles in the home arena. When you look at it from the point of Roland, would you advise them to bring it back home, or just do sample production at home? What is the stand, and how do you look at those things at this moment?
I think as Hervé said, it very much depends on the type of production that you're going to be doing and what your setup is. But COVID aside, there's been a trend towards needs to be able to bring things in-house anyway. And I think that's just going to be amplified by COVID and people wanting to bring things back in-house. That's trends in the textile market and fashion and garment as well. So a few things, for example, as to why people might be bringing those things back home in terms of the trends are things like customized clothing. Yes, if you're buying in bulk and you're looking for cheap production rates, then by all means, I'm sure, outsourcing far afield is going to be very, very attractive to you. But there's a lot of trends within fashion and garment and just textiles, I guess, where people are wanting more customization and they want things tomorrow, as they do in the buy here, buy now market. And with customization, you have that option to be able to personalize or customize in short to medium runs very easily. So I think that's from a machine point of view, that's very easy to do, and it's something that's kind of become a lot more prominent in the last couple of years.
But one of the things I've noticed in textiles, although I've been a big promoter of bringing textiles back to Europe and printing locally, is the complexity of not the print and getting the quality. I know Roland has an enormous amount of different color inks, which give you an ample gamut of color that probably is even bigger than some of the reactive inks. But the biggest problem is confection. It is bringing, you can produce it, and the roll-to-roll print is not that difficult. So how do we move, the supply chain into confection? Because I think this is one of the bigger problems. I mean, Hervé, as well as Inditex or Zara and all their brands, they produce a lot locally or very near shore. But their confection mostly is done in Morocco for the simple reason is they have the labor cost. And labor in the UK or labor in France or in the Netherlands or even in Germany is outrageous when it comes to production for garments. So do you see any movement there, Joe, that you say, you don't need to anymore, let the production of garments be done somewhere else, but I can produce the images on those garments myself? Is that we know Coordinate is there, we know Aeon is there. I think you guys have a device that does the same. Do you see a trend that people are doing that right now?
Yeah, and I think, in terms of actually producing the textiles or the garment, then often if it's a standard fit, a standard form that you want to produce, then perhaps again a field is more attractive. But if, as I said, when people are wanting more customized or customized and personalized solutions, there's software now where people can upload body measurements or photographs of themselves, and you can get a garment created for you, for your body type. Things like that are meaning that it's, there's no way that you can shop further afield for it, and people are willing to pay that premium, which might cover the labor costs of having something like that at home. If you're doing roll to roll, yes, there may still be higher volumes involved or secondary processes or things like that. But as you said, you mentioned the device behind me here. This is a new device for Roland, a direct to item textile printer, and it's got multi-stations, so you can print a one-off of something, you can print 10 different things at 10 different sizes, all with different images on, and it's very easy for one person to run. There isn't a huge lot of labor costs other than loading and unloading the printer, which it isn't too strenuous, but then you've also got the ability to be able to offer that premium stuff that people are really looking for now. You can micro factory by having these things in on site or behind the scenes if you're looking at shop fronts and things like that. But you can also get people involved with the processes. So going into Primark somewhere, as you said, and buying a cheap T-shirt, that's great for many people. But if you want that next level, you want that customization, that personalization, you want to involve people in that purchasing process or the design process, then you have software and you have ways of doing that, which can just ping the file directly to you. And all you need to do is load something onto the machine and print it. Obviously, if you have stitching capabilities, sort of garment manufacture capabilities, then yes, you can start to look at customizing things to specific body sizes, specific shapes, and people want to be unique. Yes, yeah, exactly. Going to Primark and seeing everybody on the high street with the same T-shirt as you, people are moving away from that and wanting more unique, bespoke, personalized, or customized items.
I agree. I mean, it is something which is, nice for a bespoke. It's nice for, having a group of friends and making 10 shirts and get that locally done is fantastic. But I cannot imagine a company like Zara or a company like Hennes and Mauritz producing, shirts on a small device or even on a production machine, for the simple reason is their volumes are too big. Now, I know Hervé is on the walk. He's trying to get a better location for his Wi-Fi, but
that's the way actually the people who are stitching, the way they are looking always for new opportunities to get the right place to be done. So the issue is actually the textile industry is a complex industry, because you have on one side at the beginning of the industry you have something which is very heavy industry, which is when you produce, you need only to go one time to a spinning industry, to the spinning mill, and you will understand that it's a very heavy industry. And you have at the end a very small industry, which is actually all what is the stitching. So we are, in the concept we have at Midville is actually that we try to do small lots in France, and there is a high amount of made in France product made locally and produced in small lots. Mm-hmm. And for sure, the most difficult things is even if you produce small lots in France, it's to have stitching facilities in France. That's the main problem. And then we produce bigger lots, including for Inditex, in different countries, which can be Portugal or Turkey. And in this case, you need big capacities of stitching. But you still have huge capacity of stitching in Portugal, for instance. We made a project in the last 6 months. We made a project for face mask, and we had around 1,000 people working for us. And we did it within a few weeks, which means that the capacity was there. When we were looking for capacity in France, it was impossible. So the issue is the market will develop itself between completely different way of working. You will have what you said, small lots, personalized lots, production in Amsterdam, in Berlin, in London, and everything like that, with standardized product, but personalized product as well. And you will still have a need for big and huge lots produced in a very small time. And then after knowing that, you will have to, we will see if the offshoring is going to be done or backshoring or everything like that. At the end, the customer will decide what he wants, because for sure, what will be the big difference between 10 years ago and now, it will be the traceability. Yeah. So when you work with even with big groups, they need traceability. So they need to know where does it come from and so on. So the major effect will be traceability, and the customer is going to, and the end user is going to ask for traceability as well. So, and then we will see what he decides. If we prefer to buy a product for a cheap price, knowing it comes from far away, or he prefer to pay a few euros more, and he will accept that it's done in a few kilometers from his place. That's one issue. I guess, because we saw that with the digital printing as well, that some new technology are going to change the game as well, because for sure what you are doing as well on a digital printing was not possible when I began to work in the 80s or the 90s on any machine. So the technology will change it. And I guess as well what we aim is that you will have new players. So what I spoke, we work quite a lot during the lockdown, and when you speak to the bank tells you, okay, we never had so many people trying to create their own company, and it will be the case for textile as well. So I'm sure that you will have concepts which are locally and only locally. You will have concepts which are going to be locally and globally, like what we are doing by mixing the production in locally and globally. And you will still have, because by the number of people living in this world, you will need to have a big production on all over the world. What I did notice during this crisis is, in any case, but it's not only because of this crisis, is because of the global situation. There is a big discussion about what is coming from China, and I guess that in any case, let's say in 1 or 2 years, there will be less garment coming from China than what happens today.
I would agree with you, for the simple reason that the internal demand of China is growing. So their prices are going up. It becomes less attractive to bring product in from China because of transportation costs and other things. So from that point of view, I would totally agree. One of the things I was thinking of when I started my first printer in the beginning of this century, by the way, it really was us doing hands-on inks, trying to get things done, and now we want to produce maximum. When I look at Roland, for example, Joe, when I have 10 printers, how can I control those 10 printers? I mean, I think traceability is crucial. I really agree with you. I think that there's all kinds of initiatives. But if we look at a printer from Roland or a printer from any manufacturer in a large format business, how can we do, software-wise some traceability? How can we do software-wise that all these machines run the same and we can guarantee, quality, color, etc.? Is there any movement there in the last years where we say, wow, this is something that people just don't know about?
Yeah, I think Roland, we try and cover a little spread of the market. We have different devices that suit slightly different outputs. And I think in Europe anyway, especially, rather than having one massive super high speed production machine, people would rather often have multiple devices because they need to be agile. They need to be able to change things. They need to be able to get one printer to jump onto a new job or change a different ink set or move to, whatever it might be, personalization, customization, a different type of material on a different type of paper, whatever it might be. And that's what people tend to look for. But as you say, you then have the issue of having all these devices and being able to run them. Sticking with one brand or one manufacturer or one ink set obviously makes that a lot easier because it's very easy to maintain when you have the similar devices. And Roland, we develop our own softwares, but we also we work with partners who are experts in their fields to be able to get the best solution. And having things like, as you mentioned, extra wide gamma ink sets for the fashion industry specific, or more specifically, I guess, and fluorescent colors and things means that you can really jump on things quickly when they come out. But having those multiple devices, yes, it might mean that you may need more people on hand to look after them. But I think that's one of the benefits, obviously I'm going to say I work for Roland, but of having high quality devices that don't let you down, and having the support locally to be able to come and fix those as well. You control your production processes. So you control all of the bottlenecks, all of the things that can go wrong. And obviously we try and minimize those at Roland so that you don't have those things getting in the way. It also enables you to be able to, as I said, be more dynamic or agile. So if, for example, you are testing new markets, you are a new company or you're an old company looking to find new avenues, then having the ability to test markets and create, small runs that just to test something or to be able to see what's going to work, what's not going to work, means that you can do that in-house rather than waiting for things to come from further afield. And I think it's a combination of all those things. It's the on-demand production, it's less waste, it's less transport costs, or not keeping high inventory. It's being a part of an interactive design or print process. For the smaller stuff, maybe in store, or maybe big stores having factories out the back where everything's done there and then. Whilst you shop, or that kind of buy now, get tomorrow kind of culture, I guess. But people being able to have fast fashion, see something, react to it, and then purchase there's all of these things that kind of are culminating so that people are seeing the benefits of bringing things in-house. And I look after the academy at Roland, so I can speak for us anyway to say that it's pretty easy to get people upskilled on these things. Obviously, the whole market takes time to learn, and especially the textile side. With printing, as you said, lots of people are going to be having these startups. Hervé was saying where lots of people are going to be getting into these markets because they can see the benefits of producing locally.
Joe, I think
that's also a danger. Sorry, Hervé, but this is also a danger because, in my opinion, it's not as easy. Printing, buying a piece of kit or hardware and buying some software, buying some inks, it doesn't make you a textile specialist. And this is
but
misconception.
The big difference is between, let's say, 10 or 20 years ago and now, is in any case the machines we use, so they are much more convenient than 10 or 20 years ago. So
absolutely,
they are linked to. So you can imagine that you can do much more, and that's the Corona effect as well. That the people are used now to be taught over the net and so on. So you can link. In any case, it's easier to link a digital printer to a cloud than to link, I don't know, a rotary machine or anything like that. So, and I guess as well, what is important for me is you will have new services coming out. So, for instance, we see what we are doing. Our business model is based on designing. So we have people designing and locally and all over Europe. And I do believe that there are many young companies who will come out and they will say, okay, I prefer to produce and to control my production. And I will buy a small printer, then after that a bigger printer, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So there are limitations, of course, because textile is complicated in the preparation and finishing, but there will be services for that. And you will have services for designing. You will have platform for other things. For instance, we are working on a platform. We have working on a European project for a platform for garment, for that the people are able as well to pick up some garments and to cut themselves and so on. So that's something which there are new services will come out. And this will bring to new market forms. And so 20 years ago, if you bought a printer, you had to be very printer affine to do that. I guess that today it's easier, and you can focus on your market, and you say, okay, my market is, I don't know, to produce bags or shoes or I don't know what. And you can focus on your market, and then you can buy over the platforms the services you cannot do. I guess the big differences will be for 20 years you had to do everything yourself, and you were not able to focus on your market. And actually, with new technology coming on, and as well a new interface to people like the people who produce the printers, then it will be easier. That's I'm sure.
Okay, no, I think you're right. I think there is a movement of the green button like we have on a copier are getting closer to the printers.
Yeah.
And from that point of view, I totally agree with you. I think that focusing on the market is it's finally giving the person to really be the entrepreneurial person he wants to be, to run the business and not being the technician running the business. I mean, if you look at the old printing technology of offset printing, the death of the commercial print houses was basically the technicians were running the business. And I think that if we have a new environment, which you're sketching, and I agree with you, I think there's going to be a new environment of people. I think they will start locally and they will grow into something else. It's interesting because Joe, you guys have the academy. If somebody that has no knowledge, he has a great idea, he's brilliant, he has the money to buy some kit. How long would it take for him to go to a Roland Academy and get at least the basics to start his company? How long are we talking about? I mean, it took me many years, but what is it today? I'm curious about that.
Depends on the device and the
No, let's say the new Garment device to print T-shirts.
Yeah. So the device behind me, the XTS, this is a multi-station device, but it's not just for T-shirts. It's for anything that you can fit on one of the stations, and that's the idea: is the versatility. You can have 10 of those doing one thing all day, every day, or you can have one of them doing a variety of things throughout the day. And in terms of, I guess one of the benefits of Roland is the fact that we make the software, or we work with partners who make software more specifically for a specific product or market. As long as you're reasonably handy with a computer, if you are going to be the one running the software as well as the machine, I always say that just to show somebody how to get a machine to do something with the software will take an hour or two. We normally run full day sessions for people to really sort of get to grips after maybe they've had their machine installed and they've learned the basics. Then they come back a few weeks later, once they learned what they don't know, they can come back and really fill in the gaps. But then, we look to nurture that moving forward and help people to learn new ways of using their machines, or new avenues, or additional bits of equipment that might work with their machine. And because, we sell through a dealer network, so we've also got our amazing dealers who know all of the other elements within these pieces of the puzzle, so that you can really actually help people to learn and grow. And that's one of our, especially my philosophies about helping people to through it if they're not very knowledgeable, or if maybe they're moving from analog processes into digital. It's a little bit scary at the start, and that's where we want to hold people's hands and show them that it's not that hard. In a full day, you'll be comfortable running the machine. And then obviously there's a small learning curve as you move on and progress. But especially when you have similar technologies and similar softwares for the devices, it's very easy to sort of move from a smaller grade machine up to one of the bigger ones, because the technology, the software is normally very similar.
Great. Well, guys, you probably noticed the clock, but time flies when you're having fun and having a great conversation. I would like to thank both of you, but in conclusion, I think that we can say that it's not that simple to near shore or far shore. It depends on many factors, like Hervé and yourself said, Joe. I think the best way to do it is to investigate, get new data, try to come with the right solution, talk to people, form your mind before you buy something or before you start your company. Supply chain is important. Get help from external people if you don't know and if you're not confident with where you want to go. I think that's important. And in these days, people are hesitant to get advice from somebody else. I think it's important to get advice. You're investing your company, your time. I think those are the things. You should just remember, don't deal with the famous sentence, one day you're in, next day you're out, which is a very much of a textile thing. having a design today doesn't mean you can sell that design tomorrow. For today, we have to end this session. I really want to thank you, Joe, with all your knowledge on printing and things you've been doing in the academy. Great. Hervé, thank you for being with us from your hotel room, and I really appreciate that. It is not easy to get a good Wi-Fi and a stable Wi-Fi, but you managed. So thumbs up for you guys, and thank you very much. And I'll see you soon somewhere in the world.